what am I doing?
You want me to take the opening line?
Open up the... Yeah, right there. Well, just...
I
pause.
Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia Amateur Radio Regional Net, the newest, most interesting net in amateur radio. Tonight we are live from Studio Vanguard and we are linked in with the following repeaters.
Tonight we're linked in with Bisky 444.625, Buckhead 442.025, Currahee Mountain 444.225, Fort Mountain 442.850, and Hobbit at 444.350.
This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. or 7:03 tonight. I would like to thank all of you for joining in our mission to promote and exercise the art and science of enjoying amateur radio. We further seek to cultivate and develop the next generation of radio amateurs, both young and old.
Your net control tonight is Kilo November 4, Hotel Yankee Mike. My name is Julie.
And Kilo November 4, Hotel Yankee November. My name is Justin.
And November 4, Tango Victor Zulu. My name is Tony.
And Kilo Romeo 4, Hotel Bravo Uniform. My name is Rogers.
On this directed net, we will discuss this week's topic and other topics of interest. We will not discuss politics, religion, or any subject that becomes divisive or disruptive. Our goal is to bring people together to find common interest in productive and informative conversations. All conversations should be enjoyed as though our family members are in the room. Guest check-ins are welcome from anyone with a valid FCC amateur call sign.
So, I'm used to the NG where, well, we got the script on this one. So tonight's topic, we're going to talk about amateur radio and emergencies. So pretty excited to do that.
Yeah. So, announcements. Julie, do you want to do the announcements or you want me to do them? Since you're doing tips.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got to find them. I think they're right here. So, announcements. Good evening, everyone. This is KN4HYN. My name is Justin, and these are the announcements live from Studio Vanguard. Quick programming note, Vanguard will not be available next week. Tony, Rogers, you guys going to do a round table?
Yeah,
or?
I think we might try to just do a rag chew or something.
Okay.
Something
Nice.
next week.
So
Yeah.
you're going to do that on GMRS, right?
Correct. GMRS.
All right. So we'll have
Need to
something
break.
on the air next week. Let's break. We'll have something on the air next week, but it won't be the regularly scheduled program. It'll be an irregularly
Irregular.
scheduled program. So just be on the lookout for that. Tech Fest was originally January 31st, but because of the ice storm, it's been moved to February 21st. The GARS Tech Fest is a free annual event specifically geared towards amateur radio enthusiasts. Do you know what the admission is, Tony?
Absolutely free.
It's free. So this event provides an excellent opportunity for individuals to learn about the latest developments in amateur radio technology, share knowledge and experience, and network with other amateur radio operators. Attendees can expect demonstrations of various types of equipment, attend presentations and workshops on a variety of topics, including Meshtastic. This event is great for anyone who's interested in amateur radio, whether you're a seasoned operator or just getting started. Attending the GARS Tech Fest is an excellent way to learn more about the hobby, make new contacts, and discover new ways to use amateur radio technology. If you're passionate about amateur radio and want to stay up to date on the latest advancements, then attending GAR's Tech Fest is a must. Amateur radio testing will be done from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's $14 to take the test, cash only, $14. February 21st, that's coming right up. So if you get just really serious, today's the 12th, and you spend 20 minutes a day in the technician material and a few extra minutes each day with practice exams, especially when you get closer, I believe in just the next 11 or 12 days, you can take and pass your technician's test.
And you know what? I would say I would go as far as saying the general as well. I'm going to be studying for that, and I want to get that done in the next 2 to 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. Are you gonna take the test at the at the Tech Fest?
We'll see.
Should we call it the Test Fest?
I think when I get general, I'll be good for a little while. But
Yeah.
I know I'm going to eventually get the extra, but yeah, I might be ready.
This
though.
would
Say
be
go,
great.
go ahead and test for your general. If you pass it, you pass it. If you fail, you fail.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean it's what?
Nothing's
What did it say?
lost.
14?
It's
$15?
$14. If here's the deal: is if this would be a great time to pass the general, because we'll be holding a study session for extra in a month or so, and I just spoke with the ham radio prep folks, and depending on how many people are in the class, will determine what the discount will be. But we can get a 25 to 30% discount on the material for that class for the extra. So that's
That's a big savings.
it's $59, and so 25% off of that would be roughly $45. Let me break. If you want to use their material, so I haven't decided that we're going to go that route, but I'm leaning real hard toward that because it's a structured class, the material is well organized, and I think that even though it's a little more expensive, it will be a quality program.
Right.
And I think it's worth maybe spending a little bit on your extra. Well, let's see. We have more announcements. If you missed the Meshtastic presentation at any of the recent Hamfests, Ed, Atlanta 557 or KQ4WEB will be presenting it one last time, the very last time until the next time. We'll be at the Tech Fest at 11 a.m. in a large forum room. This is your chance to learn firsthand about what Meshtastic is while attending the Tech Fest. Join Ed there and see what this emergency comms tech is all about. The North Georgia GMRS Network and NGARA crew will be at the Dalton Hamfest. Look for the canopy in the Boneyard. The address is 500 Legion Drive. It's in Dalton, Georgia. I plan to bring the patio heater, and we'll hang out under the canopy of patio heat, warming our fingers and.
Well, hopefully it's like this, this coming weekend or this week. Hopefully it's going to be warm.
I have been to the Dalton Hamfest where it's not been so frosty, but
Yeah.
I've also been there when it has been frosty. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I'll bring the heater either way, and we'll if we don't need it, then it can stay on the truck.
There you go.
But also coming up is the first weekend in March is going to be the Birmingham Fest. Not the Birmingham Hamfest, but the Birmingham Fest. That's March 6 and 7. Friday's schedule is from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday starts at 8:30 in the morning, and the event closes at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Hamfest will be at the Trussville Civic Center, 5381 Trussville Clay Road in Trussville, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham. The admission is $10, and that's good for both days. Coming up, we have some Skywarn training and storm spotter testing coming up February 26th at the Harrison Community Center in the main auditorium there, 5637 Tennessee 58 in Harrison, Tennessee. That's 37341. You must register in advance, and the registration is going to happen at the National Weather Service webpage. Do we have that? Well, I guess it's weather.gov /MRX /Skywarn_classes.
We're technical down here, so we're having a technical issue bringing anything up. At all.
Oh,
So
okay.
Nothing seems to be populating.
We can't
From
get it
here-
from there to there.
Correct.
Right.
I think I know why.
Do you know why?
Yeah, cover for me.
Cover for you. Okay.
Well, we
Where
do
were
need
you
to
at?
break.
We could let's take a second break. Well, he pulled off anyway. All right. I don't know what he was talking about because we were trying to fix the issue. Where were we at? We was on the Skywarn stuff, wasn't he? Skywarn. Yeah. So hopefully everybody got that website. What was it? www.weather.gov/MRX/Skywarn classes. Hopefully we'll have that up on the YouTube in just a minute. Underscore classes. Excuse me. Yes, you're correct. All right. Well, I don't know. The tech support doesn't seem to be getting it fixed.
We lost our map view,
All right.
too.
The map is
Hang
still
on
here.
1 second.
Stay there, then. Go back to the map. No? All right. Well, then I don't have any idea. I thought... Okay, so that's fine.
Everybody bear with us. We will be taking check-ins in just a few minutes.
So, is that on input?
We are taking check-ins from YouTube, so if you're listening on YouTube, please put your call sign where you're located, and we will get you into the log under the YouTube side. So everybody knows we are having technical problems. Still nothing? Still nothing, guys?
Video from there.
All right. Bear with us, please, 1 second.
Can you pull up the announcements and just continue on with them?
All right, where are we at? Yeah. Because you got tips, right?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, I guess we can start with. Did you get to the Kennesaw gathering?
No, he hasn't finished the whole registrations for the Skywarn training and storm spotter testing. So you gave
Give the website.
they gave the website. So from this directory, find the class in Harrison and click on register to get to the form. Please note, once you submit the above form, you will not receive a confirmation. However, you should receive a submission success message on the screen. Let me give you that website one more time. Write this down since we can't pull it up. It's
We can now.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, but write it down anyway. Go ahead.
Write it down.
All right. Weather.gov /MRX/Skywarn_classes. If you have any questions, please contact Bill Dornbush, CARC Education Coordinator, at billdoornbush@w4am.net, or you can reach out to Jeff Martin, the CARC President. The North Georgia VE team next opportunity for amateur radio license exam is coming up on March 9th. North Georgia VE team, quit moving, is a Laurel VEC. There is no cost to take the test. Tests are graded and submitted electronically. Pre-registration is absolutely required and can be done at the North Georgia VE team website. I've got some upcoming gatherings to tell you about this week that are right around the corner. Pay attention. And again, grab a pencil and put these on your calendar if you're interested. These meetups are a great way to meet fellow members in and around your area. We have the Old Kennesaw Gathering. We'll have their next Meet and Geek on Tuesday, March 10th at noon at Old Town Grill on Cobb Parkway, around the corner from McCollum Airport in Kennesaw at noon. Bring your radio or Meshtastic programming issues to discuss and resolve. They'll have a mobile test bench available after lunch where they can test and program the most popular radios or help you set up a Meshtastic node. Please reach out to Ed, Atlanta 557, beforehand, either on the air or via email at wrqg 806@gmail.com if you're planning to attend, so they hold enough seats and so they can try to have the right programming cables and software available. We have the Chattanooga Radio Luncheon, which is February 20th at noon, located at Champy's Restaurant at 6515 Ringgold Road. That's in Chattanooga, Tennessee, 37412. Let me break. And we have the Peachtree Corners Brunch Bunch, which meets the third Saturday of every month at JR's Log House in Peachtree Corners on 6601 Peachtree Industrial Boulevard and Peachtree Corners Circle next to the bridge on top of the hill. Special notice, February 28th will be our next gathering due to the rescheduling of the Tech Fest on February 21st because of the ice storm. So again, February 28th. Pamela will be there helping with the chili cook-off and free hot dogs with all the fixins, chips, and soda. Where's this at?
It's at the Tech Fest.
Oh.
You forgot about the chili cook-off too, didn't you?
Man, I did. Too bad I can't be there.
Well, you could.
No, I really can't.
No, you really could.
That would not be pretty. I'll be all bandaged up. Anyway, again, Pamela will be there helping with the chili cook-off and free hot dogs with all the fixins, chips, and soda. Lunch is from noon to 1, so don't be late, because who knows, there might not be anything left. Join everyone at JR's Log House Restaurant on February 28th. And let's discuss what we're looking forward to with our radio units this year. We're always available to answer any questions, or you can bring the equipment with you for on-site assistance. All radio enthusiasts, please join us for a tasty meal. Check Google for their extensive but affordable menu. Justin and I had the pleasure of going up there not that long ago, and it really was very enjoyable. I had the Brunswick stew, which was fabulous. So, anyway, drop an email to Pamela at skygazerpamela849@gmail.com and let her know you're coming, and they'll save a spot for you. Let's see, what else? The Northeast Crew will be having their monthly meetup on Wednesday, February 25th at 11 a.m. They'll be at their usual location, which is Rooster's Cafe in Dahlonega, Georgia. The last lunch in January turned out to be a success despite the icy weather and slick roads. They had a few new faces there and plenty of good stories to share. Good times with good people is what it's all about. For more information, please contact Bobby, Atlanta 403 KQ4MJL, or Joe, Gainesville 44, also known as KQ4MJO. Let me break. And that's it. If you have any questions, comments, or news to share, send an email to Justin at NGARA.org.
All right.
Yay.
All right.
Way to fill in there.
Yeah. Okay, so we got through that minor disaster. Let's go ahead and identify again. This is KN4HYN. My name is Justin.
This is KN4HYM. My name's Julie.
And this is N4TVZ. My name is Tony.
This is KR4HBU, Rogers.
And we are KM4GA, the North Georgia Amateur Radio Association.
Welcome to the net.
All right, Julie.
Shall we jump into Julie's tips?
I think we should jump into Julie's tips.
All right. So, again, this is Kilo November 4, Hotel Yankee Mike. My name's Julie in Woodstock with this week's New User Tips and Operating Procedures segment. So this week on the New User Tips and Operating Procedures, we will talk about urgent and emergency comms, which is the topic for the week. Are you prepared for an emergency? Many of us turn to amateur radio looking for alternative communication tools. Concerns for widespread and long-duration outages are real and do happen. We get complacent with our phones and our internet when they work well, but let's not forget why we're here. At least why some of us are here. Alternative communications. In an emergency, we may find conventional communications unusable. So it's important to create an emergency comms plan. Establish which frequencies you'll use for different circumstances. Establish a radio time where you will power radios on and attempt contacts, then power them off to conserve batteries. Learn about the 333 plan. Engage in periodic radio exercises to maintain your radio skills and correct any bad habits you may find. Many of these practices can be done on simplex channels, so there's no concern about tying up the network for training activities. Further, encourage your family to get familiar with radio operations and engage in radio communications during the weekly GMRS nets or just with the membership in general. It's a lot easier to ask someone for help if you've spoken with them before. And the more familiar your family becomes with members on the network, the more likely someone will be able to assist you or your family when trouble comes. Let me break. We hope these procedures become more than an exercise and you develop regular radio use and engagement. We all know familiarity with using the radio could become vitally important if we're ever faced with a true emergency and should be a regular part of your emergency plans. These are the practices that make us the best radio operators on the North Georgia Amateur Radio Association Network. I hope you'll tune in next week for my next episode of Julie's Tips in Operating Procedures. And remember, if you have any questions or suggestions, you can send me a note at julie@ngmrs.org. We are North Georgia Amateur Radio Association. And that's it for my tips. So why don't we dive in and go ahead and start taking some more check-ins. Are you ready for that?
Well, I think rather than some more check-ins, let's just take some check-ins.
Any check-ins?
Yeah, that would be.
We have a bunch of YouTube already.
So I see that we've got a running list in there already. That's great stuff. Those are all YouTube check-ins?
All YouTube.
Okay, so let me go ahead and check
And
those.
speaking
other
of,
two boxes.
Ed's stuck in traffic, just FYI.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's fine. Well,
Yep.
be careful and
Absolutely.
get there when you get there. And
Who'd have thought that Atlanta has traffic?
I don't know where. I don't even know where it
What
comes
is it?
from. Yeah, they're obviously
Never.
they're all from out of town.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start in with some check-ins from the membership here. And again, if you're not a member of North Georgia Amateur Radio, but you do have a valid FCC call sign, we'd invite you to go ahead and check in tonight and participate in this evening's net. Just a reminder, you can check in and out if you like, but I am going to call on you anyway, and we're going to that's the practice we're going to have over here. We'll call on everybody just to get a chance to know each other and learn more about amateur radio practices and habits. So tonight's topic is amateur radio in emergencies.
Emergencies. And when you bring your call sign, bring it slow and twice.
That's
Slow and
right.
twice, yeah. We really struggle.
We are
here.
amateurs here.
in more ways than one.
Exactly.
We're so tuned into GMRS, where we ask you to bring your call sign first, and we ignore that because we're looking for your TAC number, and on the GMRS log, we log you by your TAC number. Once we enter that information, it
And
auto-populates
it's usually just the number.
everything.
It's like 2 or 3 digit numbers. All I got to remember.
But here we're so tuned into ignoring the call sign, and then you give it, and oh wait, what was that? So give it to us twice. That would help a lot. All right, I don't know who has the key down, but it's not me. And let's go ahead and take. Let's go.
Okay. Did anybody have the key down?
Let's go ahead and take check-ins on the North Georgia Amateur Radio Association Network.
This is KR4EKH Kilo Romeo 4 Echo Kilo Hotel. Dan from Marietta, checking in, checking out, but I know you're going to call on me anyway, so hopefully I'll be here.
That cadence was perfect.
Yes.
This is November 0 Delta Lima Mike, or in other words, N0 DLM. Dana in Dahlonega, and since there is no in and out, well, I'm in.
Let him take that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take
and then
that.
I can escape.
Oh.
Go ahead and take that log. Yeah.
This is Kilo 0 Alpha Mike Tango, Kilo 0 Alpha Mike Tango, Colt in the carpet capital of the world. Checking in.
Still hadn't updated his to Gary.
This is Kilo Quebec 4 Tango Sierra Bravo KQ4 TSB Jim somewhere between in Dawsonville. Checking in.
Oh, I got that wrong. Okay. Q4DSB.
This is KR4 BRU Kilo Romeo 4 Bravo Romeo Uniform. Jonathan in Hickson, Tennessee. And man, you folks sound awfully familiar. I swear I've heard you all before somewhere. I just can't quite place it. This is KR4JFG Kilo Romeo 4 Juliet Foxtrot Golf David and Winder. Again, that was KR4JFG checking in, checking out.
Okay, well, he YouTube checked in as well. Oh, well. We'll count it.
Oh, he's in there twice?
Well, he is.
Oh.
But he YouTube checked in.
Yeah.
So I guess that's two. If you
All
do
right.
both ways, we'll give you two in the log.
I guess we're gonna have to. we're not smart enough to do it any other way.
Do you have another log on that screen?
No, I do not. But I will get you one here since.
All right, let's go ahead, and since we got a little break here, let me go back and acknowledge our YouTube check-ins. We have K4KOP Mark in Rome checking in on YouTube. We have KQ4WZN Brett in Hiram checking in on YouTube. We have W4DGA Willard in Homer. We have WAOJTW Clifford in, oh man, Culleoka, Tennessee? I think.
Sure. I will take that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with it. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I think that might be pretty close. We have KR4JFG David in Auburn. We have another check-in from K6NG in Charlotte, Tennessee. I don't have a name on that one. Is that?
Where are we at?
That was a YouTube check-in.
Yes.
So, all right. And then we have last YouTube check-in so far is KQ4PFB Mark in Adairsville. And then on RF, we heard Kilo Romeo 4 Echo Kilo Hotel Dan in Marietta. We heard November Oscar Delta Lima Mike Dana in Dahlonega. We heard Kilo Oscar Alpha Mike Tango Colt in where is Colt?
We don't know where Colt's at because Colt needs to send an email to Gary to get his call sign changed in the log.
Yeah, actually an email won't do it. You have to go in because it's automatic. So he has to go into the web page and update his info,
Okay.
and then put the correct call sign in for his. Because probably we still have his old.
We
call
still
sign
have his old one.
registered.
I checked it last
Yeah.
week on the Saturday night sessions log.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's not something I can update from here. You'll have to do that. Otherwise, we'll never. You could give us your old call sign, and it would give us those details. But
Right.
but nobody wants to use their old call sign.
No.
We
not
have,
when you got a vanity one.
Yeah, right. We have Jim. We have Kilo Quebec 4, Tango Sierra Bravo in Jim and Cumming. We have Kilo Romeo 4, Bravo Romeo Uniform. Jonathan, Jonathan sounds familiar. It's almost as if we've heard him on another net somewhere.
I think so.
But I'm not quite sure. We heard Kilo Romeo 4, Juliet Foxtrot Golf. David, hey, I think that also sounds familiar. Is David in the log twice?
He's in the log types because he logged in on YouTube and RF.
Oh, the twofer.
The twofer.
Okay. All right, David. We got you in there twice, David from Winder. We've got also a YouTube check-in from Kilo Oscar 4. I wanted to say
Oh.
Kilo Oscar 4, Echo Alpha Juliet William in Roswell is a YouTube check-in. Let's continue with RF check-ins. Net Control, standing by.
I'm gathering some YouTube ones if you want to.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm going to give you a few lines.
All right. Let's see. That doesn't sound like a.
Uh-oh.
This is Kilo Quebec 4, Mike Juliet Lima, KQ4, MJL, Bobby, over in Cleveland, Lake County, at the Vortex. Checking in.
Okay, so he was.
They can hear you when you whisper.
I know, and I always forget about that. Hey, YouTube.
Who let the dogs out?
This
Somebody.
is KQ4 MJO, Cleveland, Georgia. Checking in.
And the name you pronounced in Tennessee, how'd you say it?
Kolioka?
He said that's perfect.
Ah.
That'd be. Well, he didn't give his name, but.
Clifford.
Oh. I got one more here. Okay.
All right.
I'm caught up. Well, I say that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We've got some YouTube check-ins here. We have Whiskey 9 Bravo Kilo Yankee is going to be Danny in Evansville, Indiana. That's a
YouTube.
okay. That's YouTube. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good haul from Evansville.
I know.
We've got Kilo November 4, Juliet Bravo Romeo James in Chattanooga. And we've got Kilo Quebec 4, Yankee Victor Quebec, Jeffrey in Jeffersonville. Or in Jefferson. There's no Ville. It's just Jefferson.
Jefferson. So Jeff and Jefferson.
Jeff and Jefferson and on YouTube. And then on RF, we heard Kilo Quebec 4, Mike Juliet Lima, Bobby at the Vortex, as well as Kilo Quebec 4, Mike Juliet Oscar, Joe in Cleveland.
Also at the Vortex, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he never
Joe
says
is the
he's
Vortex.
He is the Vortex.
Is it?
Yeah, so I think all things are circling
All right.
around Joe tonight.
Is it? All
And I
right.
think that's what that reference is. Bobby will tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds good, so I think we'll just go with it.
I like it.
All right, so let's go ahead with tonight's program. we've got a short roster of RF check-ins. So we've got. Well, I think we have more. Well, maybe it's a draw between
It's
RF
really close.
and
Come on, RF.
Yeah. RF check-ins. We need a few more out of you to pay the light bill here. So looks like first on the list is going to be Dan. Kilo Romeo 4 Echo Kilo Hotel. Dan, tonight's topic is amateur radio in emergencies. And so, I mean, there's so many ways and to think about that, right? So, I mean, your car breaks down. Do you have a radio?
Well, speaking of, my wife's go bag in her car,
Mhm.
I was going to add a new repeater to it. Pulled it out. Completely dead. I don't know whether it got turned on by accident or what. I'm like, oh, wow, that's nice to know. Good thing I caught that.
Well, so is there a means to power that radio from the vehicle?
Yes, there is. Worst case scenario, but if something happens and we've got to walk and we don't have a vehicle, we just carry in the go bag and then we pull out the radio and it's dead. It's a bigger emergency than we thought, right?
Right. Yeah, I tell you, and I struggle with HTs in a vehicle for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not real good about keeping things charged.
Right.
So the only way that I'm going to keep a radio charged is if the radio lives on the charger, like that one right there beside Rogers.
Yep.
It just sits there and it's always charged because that's where it's at. You can't do that with radios that use NiCad batteries. I can't tell you how many batteries I've ruined because I park them in a charger and then I kind of forget about them. So I'm really pleased that these modern radios, modern battery systems, are a lot more forgiving of that behavior.
Right. And normally she has 2 radios in her bag. The other one was 100%.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was 0. So I don't know whether it got bumped on and just went dead or what, but oh well. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Check your bags.
Keep an eye on
If you got a
that.
go bag and you got a radio in it, check it.
That's definitely worthwhile. But I mean, there's so many other things to think about in terms of radios in emergency situations. So in that scenario, you've got 2 radios in the vehicle. Hopefully, one's all you need. So
Right.
you've got that kind of covered because as David Loomis often says, if you've got one, you've got
none.
0. And in that case, if you had the one with a dead battery, that's where you would be.
Right. I had 2. We had 2.
Having
but we
2
only
in
had
there
1.
gets you to the 1. So that was good stuff. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about one of the thoughts that I have is if you're in an emergency situation, the worst thing for you to be in is in a panic because you're not familiar with the radio. Or maybe the emergency is you and someone needs to use the radio for you, but they don't know how. So I think it's important that we make sure that those that are around us have some familiarity and some training and some level of education and understanding of how radios work. And of course, from the GMRS side of things, we encourage our family to use our radios because we can. It's a little bit different in an amateur radio, but I think in an emergency, you still have that high level of importance of having family members being familiar enough and capable of operating a radio so that if something does happen, they can reach out and hopefully get the help that is required. So, Dan, I'm going to leave the subject matter up to you, and let's talk about how you might use your radios in an emergency and what kind of contingencies do you have in play?
Yes, hi. Well, that's a good thought about the HTs. It sounds like a good reason to buy a couple of more HTs and keep them in each car. I haven't done that. I've got, the Kenwood radios I got from Gary in each car. But, yeah, what happens if the battery goes dead? So I probably do have to keep an HT in there in each car. And another good point that you made is everyone needs to know how to use them. Some of you have met my wife, Julia. She's a little reluctant to learn how to use the radios, and it's something that I think needs to be reviewed fairly often for both of us, just to make sure that we're both completely comfortable, especially my wife Julia, speaking on it and learning how to contact other people in an emergency. But other than that, I would like to know what size backup battery I need. I do have a whole house standby generator. I do have solar panels, and I'm about to get a solar battery that will be charged by the solar panels up on the roof of big one. But I would like to get a portable, a small battery I can keep in the house. What size do you recommend?
Nothing on that one.
Yeah, I think, when you're talking about batteries and battery backup and emergency power kind of stuff, you get what you can afford. You buy the most battery that you can, because no matter what you buy, let's say you buy a 100 amp hour battery pack, and it seems like that's a lot of power, and if all you're powering is all you're doing is recharging your phones and recharging a radio, maybe 100 amp hour is good for several days. But if you add in a laptop and you add in, you're going to run a hotspot, you're going to run Raspberry Pi, or you're going to recharge your tablets, pretty soon that 100 amp hours is not really going to last more than a day, or maybe not even that. So you can surprisingly consume a lot of energy just in recharging batteries off of a battery pack like that. So you kind of have to budget, and by budget I mean electrically. Budget your consumption of battery powered devices when you're in an emergency situation, and maybe that's the time where you say, okay, I don't want to run hotspot continuously, because if I run hotspot and the radio continuously, I'm going to consume a lot of battery power. Maybe I only turn hotspot on during the 333 plan and run the radio at that time. So you can do things like that to stretch your battery budget,
right,
and get more runtime out of a smaller battery. Alternatively, you may need to buy more battery.
Right. And I know we've got a couple guys on here that's going to speak here in a few minutes when we call on them. But if you guys know or have a recommendation, I know I've heard the name Life Pro batteries out there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So they're supposed to be really good. How long they last, what they'll last, how long they'll power. Maybe some of the other guys that that have checked in could help us out on that.
So we purchased a LiFePro battery off of Amazon. It's I believe it's an 8 amp hour battery for $20.
Nice.
Oh, the little small one that runs the light right here?
No. It's like the size of battery you'd stick in a typical UPS. I'll go get it here in a few minutes. You guys can cover for me. I'll bring it in here. We'll show it to you on camera. It was crazy inexpensive. It's only 8 amp hours, but and it claims to be a LiFePro battery. It looks suspiciously like lithium ion. So we've got it disassembled in a way that we can look at the insides of it and you can see for yourself. But it's $20 on Amazon. So even if it's lithium ion, it's really kind of a good deal for an 8 amp hour battery. I think it's a reasonable value. However, buyer beware. I mean, I have not put this battery. Let's break. I've not put this battery to task yet, so I don't know how well the BMS is going to perform on a battery. I don't know, how its performance is really going to be when it gets put into a project that I never seem to have time for. But one of these days, we'll put that battery. And I think there may be, at that price point, there may be 2 or 3 of them in the project to get added capacity. They're not very heavy. Which seems like, if they don't, because lithium ion weighs a little bit, right? And the LiFePros are super lightweight.
Super lightweight, huh?
So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of without actually disassembling the battery cells, and I don't really want to do that. I don't want to ruin the device. I just took it apart because I wanted to know. So I'll share that with you here on the air in just a few minutes, and we'll look at it together, and you guys can decide whether or not that's something that you have any interest in. Are you looking for those $20 batteries on?
I was, but no, I haven't found them yet.
Okay, I haven't looked for a long time. But it was on Amazon. It was a $20 LiFePro battery. I bought it, and with full expectations that there would be a layer of sand and some other stuff in there to make it seem like it was a real battery with 2 or 3 cells. But it's got, I don't know, 8 cells or something like that. I have to look at it again, but. Buy as much as you can afford, and then I think the real budgeting comes into when you get into a power out situation. You're gonna have to budget your power, knowing what you have for amp hours, and knowing what you have for gadgets and what kind of runtime you think you should plan for. I like the idea, and I don't know where this came from, but if you have 2 smaller batteries rather than one big one, you can run your first battery and let that run and power things continuously for as long as it can. All right, so if that's overnight or if that's for a day, maybe your power's back on within that period of time, and so you don't have to suffer the inconvenience of being out of action on whatever service you're dealing with, because you've got this battery, it's powering this equipment, and you fully expect to run that battery all the way down to nothing, with maybe the opportunity to recharge it tomorrow, maybe not. But then you have another battery that you keep in reserve, and this battery is one that you don't touch this battery until you get to a situation where your first battery is depleted. Now that we're using our second battery, and we don't know if we're looking at a power outage of hours or days, we approach the second battery in a much, much more conservative fashion, and we budget our power so that we're only charging things within a window of time where the energy can either be reproduced by solar or, we're limiting our consumption of battery now that we're down to the 1. And if you can recharge your first battery on solar the next day, then you can get right back into that full power mode. Just have that understanding that once you get into that reserve power on your second battery, let me break. Once you get into that reserve power, you should treat that one perhaps more conservatively to make sure that you can run the distance, whatever that might be, until the sun comes up, until the power comes back on, or whatever that might be. So good stuff, Dan. Thanks for the conversation. And with that, we're going to go next to November Oscar Delta Lima Mike Dana, high atop Mount Olympus. Dana, what emergency amateur radio contingencies would you like to talk about?
Well, just a small correction. It's November 0, not Oscar. I've really gone out of my way to prepare for any area-wide event that could last up to a couple of weeks. I have 2 different go bags, which, it's funny I say go bags because I don't plan on going anywhere. No matter what the situation is, this will be my stand here up on the hill. But I got 2 go bags with 4 radios, extra batteries, shoulder mics, etc. That will be good to use. Like I said, my neighbors and I have a plan. If it's an area-wide thing and it's going to be, a significant period of time. Let me reset. Excuse me. Then, of course, I have a total home generator, which runs on propane, a couple of 80-pounders, but, that's only going to be maybe a week to 8 or 9 days. That'll take care of that. But I got sufficient solar charging abilities. I have 3 CPUs down here on the base stations that'll run these radios here for several days without running down. And, everybody needs to remember that, in a situation, that's why we fill our tanks up. But in a situation that's going to be, over a period of time, you've got another generator, which is your car. So just keep all that in mind. And like I said, I'm pretty well set up here. Back to you.
All right, very good. And Bobby tells me I timed out at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So what that means is that we're not letting enough time on a reset. So that's my bad.
Sorry.
So thank you for that, Bobby. That's very useful information. But having the car as a source of regenerative power is valid. It's something that we often don't think about. But there again, you need to budget for that, right? If you have conditions coming that you're aware of in advance, then make sure you have a full tank. A lot of people consider a half tank as being empty, and they don't ever let their vehicle run below half tank. I'd like to live in that world. I just don't.
Even from coming up north, because up north, you always, snow's coming, you always fill up. Never get it below quarter.
Yeah, we in the wintertime, I always try to keep it above a quarter. That is true, even from up in the north. But quite honestly, I'm a fill it once a week kind of a guy, and I don't necessarily fill it based on the fuel gauge. I fill it based on it's Tuesday and I'm going to get fuel. That's kind of the evening or the day that offers me the most flexibility in that regard. And I'll tell you, there have been times when I've driven into Midtown on a Monday morning because I haven't gotten to my Tuesday fuel up yet, thinking, I need to be a little bit conservative because I'm down to 100 miles or 125 miles, and that's quarter-ish tank, and that's a little bit tight.
Yeah.
But honestly, you can do 2 trips in and out of Atlanta on 125 miles worth of fuel.
Can you?
You can. It's 25 miles there, so I have a little bit of a reserve doing that there and back. And I've used that reserve. I've gotten right down to it, knowing that, all right, on Tuesday I have time to fuel up. And but at the same time, if there were a storm coming, I probably would have gone ahead and gotten fuel either over the weekend or on Monday or whatever the case may be. But we do tend to, I know that I do. If I have a big weekend or I'm doing a lot of driving and I've consumed a fair amount of fuel, I don't often look at, I need to fuel up before we go home. I park the truck and think about it the next day. And usually that's on my way into Atlanta and, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
But I could buy fuel in town. It's just going to be a lot more expensive inside the perimeter than out here in Woodstock. So I prefer to buy it out here in Woodstock.
Dana's always talking about practice plan and all that. Mark, I'm not sure we got a last name, mentioned that on, ham radio prep, they have a where you can sign up for an emergency communication class.
They do. I saw that today. Let me break and let me take enough time to actually reset all the repeaters. Thanks, Bobby, for making mention of that.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Yeah, that'll do it.
2 Mississippis.
We'll see if that got it. All right.
But yeah, they have a emergency communications 101. All that. So I didn't know they had that either.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we can get from ham radio prep is if we have a number of people that are interested in a particular course, we can get a discount.
Nice.
So if there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 people that want to take that class, we can order that class, and it can be available to everyone at a discount.
Is that an online class, or do you know?
So most of these classes are online classes, and the material is available both online and you can have an in-person presenter. And so that's one of the things I'm talking to them about, is being that in-person presenter.
Okay.
So
excellent.
Yeah. All right then.
Good things to come.
Perhaps. Good, bad, I don't know. We'll see what it looks like when it gets here. Next on the roster, we have, by the way, just to correct that call sign, November Oscar.
Oscar.
What did I say?
That's November 0.
November 0.
No, it is.
There is no Oscar.
There's no Oscar.
No Oscar.
No, what Oscar was the Grouch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, there's no Oscar on Mount Olympus.
No.
Yeah, there are no Grouches up there. All right, we've got Colt coming up next. Kilo 0, Alpha Mike Tango. Colt, are you ever going to update your information on the North Georgia GMRS webpage? All right, he's out in the nether, it sounds like.
Yeah, he's out. I don't know.
We could hear you key up. We didn't hear any audio with that key, so wherever you're at is a no-go scenario. So
no
if that
modulation.
If that were an emergency communication, no one would know how to respond to it.
We would tell you to move to a better location.
So why don't you give that a try, Colt? Move to a better location. I'm going to move on to Jim, and we'll come back to you after Jim. So Kilo Quebec 4, Tango Sierra Bravo, Jim incoming. Tell us about your emergency radio
going on, Jim?
preparations.
Jim. Okay. I saw Zebulon come up and I thought, that's not going to work. Jim's usually got a good signal, so
Yeah.
got something.
Kilo Quebec 4, Tango Sierra Bravo, Jim incoming. You have any comments for tonight's net? All right, let's roll back and see if Colt has improved his situation at all, or if we need to come back to him after a bit. Kilo 0, Alpha Mike Tango.
This is Kilo 0, Alpha Mike Tango. How copy?
Oh, that's
Much better.
World
Much
of difference. Yeah. Were you in a lake?
Or did you pick up the wrong radio?
Yeah, I was down in Resaca Beach. It was getting a little crazy down there. If you know what I mean.
Resaca Beach.
I had to hook up to the SATCOM. Maybe you can hear me better now. I'm coming on Fort Mountain. I looked on our documents, and my call sign is correct on there on the webpage, so I don't know where the issue is there, but whatever I need to correct, I will. That being said, emergency comms are very important. Knowing what repeaters you can hit and when you can hit them, and having redundancy systems that go 3 to 4 deep would be highly beneficial. That's why I like the GMRS stuff as much as I like the hand stuff, as much as I like the Meshtastic stuff. I think we put too much emphasis on a lot of these repeaters that don't have battery backups to them or generator backup systems. Most 911 repeaters or ham repeaters that are on battery backups or generator backups only have maximum normally around 14 to 21 days of power before they're done skis. So these simplexes we're doing are highly important. I run two 460 amp hour batteries for my battery backup for my shack. That being said, having WinLink. WinLink's a very important thing to be able to send and receive email over HF and VHF and UHF. I know UHF there. But knowing your local repeaters, knowing every local repeater you can hit is very crucial. Where I'm at, I can hit all over Atlanta and all the way up into Tennessee and around. And there are some very cool repeaters associated with us, not associated with us, and so on around. But knowing every repeater you can hit, and knowing everything you have at your disposal, especially as Meshtastic, things of that nature. This is Kilo 0, Alpha Mike Tango. Back to you, net control.
All right, Kilo 0, Alpha Mike Tango, a.k.a. Kilo Mike 4, Whiskey Foxtrot, Quebec. That is how you're listed in the NGARA roster. So that's why we're not pulling you up. So that's what needs to get corrected. If you go to the same page that you use to register to become a member, there's a field in there that says update my info. And that would be the place to go. If you update your info and put in your Kilo Mike, put in your Kilo 0 Alpha Mike Tango call sign instead of the Kilo Mike call sign, then I think that will correct that roster for us. So that data pulls automatically from the web form, and then our data pulls automatically from the North Georgia GMRS roster.
So that's on the North Georgia GMRS side, correct?
Well, yeah, but it's the NGARA tab in that roster. So if you go to the NGGMRS membership roster, and at the bottom there are tabs for each region, and there's an NGARA tab, and Colt is, where is he? He's 29 in that list. So, and that's where the Kilo Mike call sign is at. So if we punched in the Kilo Mike call sign in our log, it would pull up his information. And according to this, he's in Dalton, and
so he can update that spreadsheet
by updating the form, by using the Update My Info form.
Oh, okay.
When he does that, it should automatically populate into this form. I I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Anyway, Colt, if you can get around to that sometime, that would be great. And if not, then you're just forever going to be NA in our log. So, and that's okay too. We'll figure it out. Let's try Jim one more time. Kilo Quebec 4 Tango Sierra Bravo. Jim, incoming. You have any comments for tonight's net? You think that was Jim?
Might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that was Jim or if that was just some noise, but we were unable to make any of that out. So he's probably down at Resaca Beach.
Might be.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a Resaca Beach quality signal, Jim. We weren't able to make any of that out. I'm going to move on to Jonathan, and we'll come back to you here one more time. Kilo Romeo 4 Bravo Romeo uniform. You know, this guy sounds awfully familiar to me.
I've heard his voice.
I think he's almost a regular. So, Jonathan, what emergency provisions in ham radio would you like to discuss tonight? There's so many you can. I mean, the topic is pretty wide.
Yep.
There's just so many different ways you could go with this.
Well, I'd start with what Colt said about knowing where the repeaters are. I'm kind of a map freak, so I got maps of all that stuff drawn in on it. Keep a list of what repeaters I can hit, whether it's a strong hit or a weak hit, or no, I can't hear this one at all. And also how much transmit power I need to hit the different local repeaters. That's just kind of my own geekness there of tracking that kind of stuff. In answer to the original question about how much power do I need, this is like any other preparation. You don't know how much you need until you actually start using it. You know, how much food do I need? Well, you got to figure out how much you eat. If you buy, you know, let's say, prep dehydrated food, and that's a 1,200 calorie a day diet, and you weigh 300 pounds, dude, you're going to go through that food twice as fast as somebody who only weighs 50 pounds, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, you have to try it. And so it's the same answer on power. It is buy a battery, hook it up to your stuff, and run it and see how long that battery lasts. I got a surprise back in the fall, working the Chattanooga Ironman 140, which was a 12-hour shift of reporting in on the HT every hour with reports of the number of competitors who would pass my point and stuff. I brought my HT, 2 spare batteries, a battery pack with a USB-C charger, and a AAA battery pack that snaps into the radio in place with a regular battery. I was ready. I mean, I was absolutely ready. After 2 hours, I'd used, I still had 60% left of the first battery. So that was educational. Now I know with that one battery, I can do all the talking I want for 1 full day and realistically probably 2 days. Great. Here at the house, I've got a small, I think it's a 24 amp hour AGM battery with my GMRS radio. It's a 44 watt output radio. That will last me full 10 days, 2 weeks, checking in all the regular nets and stuff, the Skywarn net. Actually, that's when we had the Skywarn every week. So I was checking the Skywarn for an hour every week, Thursday night net for an hour every week, and then checking the rabbit hole or something like that, monitoring. So good 10 days, 2 weeks, no problem at all on 24 amp hours. Great. In my camper, I've got a retired ambulance converted into an overland camper. It's got 950 watts of solar panels on the roof, 3 52 amp hour AGM batteries for the house part of the camper, which is totally separate from the engine, which has its own dual battery setup, dual alternator setup. With that kind of power, myself and my wife can pretty much live indefinitely. We use laptops, cell phones, tablets, all we want. Starlink, that's the big power draw, by the way. The Starlink, hour a day, not over 2 hours a day, and then I can run my CPAP all night. And so far, even in full cloudy conditions, we haven't run out of power. The batteries were low after 4 or 5 days of cloudiness, but there was still enough juice to get stuff done, and because the house is separate from the engine batteries, just turn the key, engine starts up, and I've got 200 amp alternators that can start charging stuff. Great. So that's my, what do you might call it? That's my take on it, is start with what you got and start running it and hook it up and see how long it runs, you know. How much can you run that laptop or whatever you want to do, and you can find out, are you really going to have to budget stuff if you're in an extended outage, or how much leeway do you have? It is like all the rest of this stuff. You got to do it, you got to practice it, you got to turn it on, you got to test it. I'll finish by saying something I like about the HTs I've got is you can charge them off of the USB-C, so I can charge them off. If I can charge my phone, if I can charge my tablet, I can charge my HT, and that was a big selling point to me. I don't have to worry about carrying around a special charging cradle or special wall wart charger or anything like that. I can charge them anywhere. Back to you, Net Control.
I think Jonathan's got it covered.
Yeah, and I here's what I like the most about what he said is you start where you are.
Right.
All right. So if you have a 100 amp battery, then that's where you are, and that's what you budget around, and that's what you plan to get through the emergency on. And you know, once you've experienced that and you've been able to test that to get an idea of what kind of runtime you can expect out of that, then you can budget on the finance side of things about whether do I need to buy another battery, do I need to invest in solar, you know, what's the next step here, and it's going to be different for everybody. All right, so my experience with solar has never been good. I've solar and I do not agree on a lot of things, but I've never gone all in solar. I've never bought a good solar charge controller. I've always used junky ones.
Right.
So maybe that's my trouble.
Might be.
You know, I'm becoming aware of a thing that's called a peak power monitoring charger, and basically what it does is it takes a look at your not your peak voltages but your peak power output on a solar panel.
Yeah.
And it can determine at what is the best wattage rate or amperage rate to apply a charge based on what's coming from that panel. And so rather than just taking whatever voltage we get,
right,
it will buck convert the voltage up or down to maximize your charge efficiency and maximize what's coming from the solar panel in terms of its best efficiency.
That makes sense. Yeah, because you don't want to throw everything you have at a battery at one time. You want to slowly charge it, don't you?
And so in this day and age of digital magic, basically what this thing does is it goes through a scale. And it says, okay, I'm going to try to charge at this voltage. I'm going to try to charge at this voltage, this voltage, this voltage, this voltage. And it builds a little chart.
Right.
And then it goes back and it says, okay, out of all of those things that I just tried, this seems to be the peak efficiency. And then it will go back and it'll work at that voltage or that amperage level to maximize your charge. So, but those things are not cheap.
No.
But that's where you're going to gain probably the most efficiency. And we have the sophistication in electronics today, you know, to be able to do things like that. So
yeah, and I think the other thing that a lot of us, I don't know, maybe it's just radio guys, but sometimes we'll try to throw as much power as we can. What he talked about as far as your repeaters, figure out that you can get into a repeater on low power.
Right.
Because that, not only are you going to save battery power, you know, you don't need to use it all. If you don't need 50 watts, why waste the energy if you get there? So do a little testing and see what you can get into a repeater with. And that's, I think I talked to Rogers about this with the repeater book. Once you create a login, you can do a map. Let us break?
Yeah. Long break.
Long break.
Long and awkward break.
Long and awkward. Okay.
Yeah.
create a login on Repeater Book, and then off to the left there's a map. And you can put in whatever criteria you want, and it will populate you a map wherever you want of all the repeaters around. You can pick the repeater so you know it, and you can download that map and have that map in your tablet, in your laptop, whatever you need, so you can always have that list available. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, and it's one of the things that we, in the world of GMRS, we don't really worry about, making a contact with the minimum amount of power. We're,
Right.
If we got a 50-watt radio, we're using 50 watts, baby.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
We don't really think in terms of the most efficient, use of that radio, and we're not really geared towards thinking about making that contact with, we want a solid signal, but here on this side of the fence, we really should be making that contact with the least amount of power that we can make a good contact with.
Right.
All right. If you're noisy and you're down at Resaca Beach and you just sound terrible, well, then you definitely need to turn your power up or do something to improve your signal. We don't want anybody to sound like that, because that's really hard to listen to.
Right.
It's difficult to carry on a conversation, and so much information gets lost through the noise. But if you can modulate your power down a little bit and still be able to make a good quality contact, that's the right practice, and that's the thing we're supposed to do as hams. So,
Yeah, and I know one thing Tony and I tried is trying different bands. So we're talking about trying different power levels. Hey, what's my simplex on 6 meter? What is it on 10?
Right.
And I know propagation and all of that is different.
It
for
varies
every
all the
band
time, but
from time to time. But you never know.
But we know
it's good to find out.
But we know we can try different bands. Hey, I'm barely hearing you. We're going to switch over. We know we can do it. So.
and that's valuable to have as well. And these are the things that the Friday Night at 9, the Simplex Challenge, can really go a long way towards teaching us what the difference in bands and the difference in power levels and things like that, and what it's going to take based on conditions. With some experience, you can get to the place where I'm not even going to try this band because I know it's going to be noise. So let's just go ahead and start off over here. And, experience and being able to match prior experiences with conditions and understanding what some of the conditions might be, because we don't see all of them, right? It's not just weather. Sometimes it's solar activity that we don't really see, but, these are things that can have an impact on signal propagation. And it can have an impact in GMRS too, but we pay far less attention to it in GMRS because it's FM and it just works almost all the time, except when you're marginal and you have to take those extra steps to make it work.
All right.
Let's break. All right, good stuff, Jonathan. Let's try Jim one more time. Kilo Quebec 4, Tango Sierra Bravo. Jim, incoming. Are you with us? Last try. We're going to just move on if you're not here. And I think we're going to just move on. All right, not hearing anything from Jim. We're going to move on to David in Winder. Kilo Romeo 4, Juliet Foxtrot Golf. David, do you have any comments for tonight's conversation, AM radio and emergencies?
I do not really have anything else to add.
Did we call on him already? Oh, that's because he's in the log twice.
He's in the log twice? All right.
All right, David. Well, appreciate that. Thanks for playing along.
Twofer.
Yeah, we get the twofer in there, so good stuff. All right, next on the roster we have Kilo Oscar 4 Echo Alpha Juliet William in Roswell. William, do you have any comments for tonight's net? Oh, that was a YouTube check-in.
I don't think you've got to hear him.
Yeah, William can't answer me on YouTube, so that was a YouTube check-in. Let me skip ahead to our next RF check-in, which is going to be Bobby, Kilo Quebec 4, Mike Juliet Lima. Bobby, at the Vortex. Any comments for tonight's net?
MJL. Yeah, really all I get to say is, I went on generator power during the ice storm last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever. I lost power for 4 or 5 days, and I had no problem. Once I get the generator up and running, I can run all my radios and stuff. But, I really don't have a master plan for emergency ham radio stuff. I get my handheld, so, what repeaters I can hit, and really simplex is out, so it's really more repeaters than anything else, and that's really about it. I'm trying to get involved more with the Aries end of things over here in White County, since I'm in the 13 and everything anyway, so I was talking to the guys at our meeting Tuesday night about getting some of their Aries training and what goes along with that, so maybe by this time next year I'll have a little more to add. Sorry, I timed out Joe's radio on that one. But that's not all I got to throw into the net tonight.
All right, yeah, and if you've got generator power and you've got, if you're connected to natural gas and you know that you've got a supply that's going to run you for a pretty good while, I mean, how long does it take for natural gas to run out?
I don't know that I've ever ran out.
Yeah, I mean, at some point...
We've been out of power for like 3 or 4 days, and it wasn't an issue.
So I know that a lot of the natural gas distribution equipment is powered by gas.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, I mean, so they pumps and things like that are powered by natural gas. So there's going to be a lot of latency in that system. So it's going to run for a pretty good while. But at some point, if the oil wells, the refineries, the sources for natural gas stop inputting into that system, then the distribution won't have anything to distribute. But so I don't know how long we can count on natural gas to last in that scenario. But I think that's going to be our best bet in terms of longevity. 2 weeks, probably, maybe. I guess so. It all depends on what's available, nationally in pipelines and coming from those various sources. But if you're talking about gasoline-fueled generators, then how much gas do you keep on hand, and for how long can you keep the gas? And yeah,
it's only going to last so long.
Right. So
even with the stay bill stuff in it, it doesn't last forever.
And what I like to do is I don't like the 5-gallon fuel cans, because if you've ever tried to fuel a riding lawnmower or a push mower or small engine equipment with those cans, man, they're hard to pick up. They're clumsy to hold. You spill so much gas. I don't like the larger cans. So I've got a bunch of 1-gallon and 2.5-gallon cans, 10 or 12 of them probably, and I fill those up like 2 or sometimes 3 times in a season. So we use up all the gas in those tanks within a few months. And so I've never really had to deal with bad gas. The other thing I do is I buy the non-ethanol gas for those cans. So I don't worry about putting stable in them, because A, it's not here long enough.
Yeah.
And B, I think it's less of a concern when you get away from the ethanol. But if you're fueling up your generator and stuff like that with gasoline, maybe the 2.5-gallon cans are not what you want. But at the same time, I hate the idea of trying to store larger amounts of gasoline for any period of time.
Yeah, it doesn't usually work out well.
When I was on the farm, we had a 200-gallon fuel tank up on a stand. It was 6-8 feet in the air. And let me break. So as a kid, on the farm, we used that only for farm equipment. We were never allowed to fuel up my dad's pickup truck and go out joyriding on a Saturday night.
Never should do that. With
that fuel. Never were we allowed to do that. But that 200-gallon tank, it sure seemed to go. I think fuel must have evaporated out of it. I don't know where it went.
I don't know, yeah.
But we didn't really have any concerns about fuel going bad back in those days. But there again, that 200 gallons would only last for a few months. On the farm, we used a lot of fuel, and it would. I don't think we ever put 200 gallons in it at any one time. It was a 200-gallon tank, but I think that we're putting 50, 75, maybe 100 gallons in it when the fuel truck would come out. And I don't know what that fuel cost compared to going to the gas station to get it, because I was a kid back then. I didn't pay those bills.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that they were buying it cheaper than you could buy it at the pump.
Probably.
But in any case, I don't know. I don't know that I would even consider trying to put a 200-gallon fuel tank here to fuel vehicles and lawnmowers and stuff like that with, just because these days that
would be a lot of money too.
That's a bunch of money. I don't have $600 to put a new gas tank and then have it evaporate.
Oh.
Right. No.
So it's a different age, and I don't know that I really want that much fuel on the property anyway.
Well, that's why I like the idea of like solar and batteries and everything like that. I mean, as long as the sun is shining, you're pretty much good to go with
right.
solar.
How often do you have to change the oil on your solar panels?
That part, right?
Because maintenance on a generator is a thing,
right?
And
it is.
You do need to take care of the equipment, and so that is a factor. There's no real maintenance costs other than just maintaining your system, making sure you don't have frayed wires and things like that are going to lead to shorts and problems with your solar system. Maintaining batteries is probably the biggest expense you're going to have on a solar system.
Right.
But you're not going to have to spend any money on oil changes,
which is good.
Yeah. So good stuff, Bobby. Thanks for your comments tonight. Let's move next to Joe. Kilo Quebec 4, Mike, Juliet, Oscar. Joe, you have any comments for tonight's net? And is it Bobby's generator or is it yours?
I think it's Joe's radio.
Well, I have my own generator.
Okay.
AQ4MJO. Yeah, with the recent ice storm, I got a Blue Eddy and solar charging. Checked it all out, made sure everything was good. Box was up to snuff. I have a gas-powered generator. I had gas for it. Checked it all out. And then even though 54% of the county lost the power grid for up to 72 hours, mine was out for 2 hours. But at least I know that I have that if I need it.
Nice.
Well, and that's being prepared, right? That's the name of the game. And there's no better way to test our preparedness than to experience an outage and have to put our plan into play. We talk about practice the plan, and we talk about all these contingencies, but we can have the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And for years we've talked about, Julie and I have talked about a generator here on the property, and panic set in when the ice storm was coming, right. And the potential for power outages was more and more real.
Yeah, it was real high.
And we don't have a generator. There's not a generator here. And should we go get one? Well, it's a bit late now.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I probably could have found one, but is it the generator I want, or is it the generator I'm going to buy because I'm stuck buying a generator?
Right. You're going to do gas or electric.
And well, the one I want is a tri-fuel, so that ultimately I want to put it on natural gas. But in any event, if I'd gone to buy a generator and the ice storm, well, we didn't have an outage here at all. Here in Cobb County, or in Cherokee County, under Cobb EMC, we've got super reliable power, so it's hard to justify the expense of a generator when the longest outage we've ever had was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And the number of times we've had an outage over 5 minutes in duration, it could count on one hand.
Right.
In the 15, 16 years that we've been here. So it's really difficult to justify an expenditure like that. But on the other hand, if we're going to put a generator in, I would really want it to be one of those installed whole home generators, because it's going to need to be something that gets maintenance 2 or 3, 4 times at the most a year. Right. Is something that I don't have to manage. I don't have to keep track of fuel. I don't have to, and probably ultimately a generator like that is something I'm going to have a service come out and do the maintenance on it, because if it leave it up to me, I'm not going to get around to it. I'm going to get busy. I'm going to forget. I'm going to whatever, and then we're going to have a storm, and then we don't have power. So I think if you're going to do a generator, at least for me, if I'm going to do a generator, if the maintenance and the scheduling of oil changes and stuff like that is left up to me, it's going to get neglected, and then we're going to have an outage, and it's not going to be available. So in my situation, I think the money is better spent on not buying a generator at all, rather than buying one, getting it out of the box, putting the oil in it, start it up, run it, and then it sits for 8 months. And then the next time we need it, it won't run. And I think that's the real scenario. I can't tell you how many times on Facebook and on the Nextdoor app we saw people just looking for, I need somebody who can service my generator tonight. I need it tonight. I need it now. Why did you wait until now to even, But I would do the same thing. I would be in that boat. I would need somebody tonight. Let me break. All right, that's the end of our roster for RF check-ins. We do have a couple more YouTube check-ins. So we've got KR4, India Victor November. James in Ackworth is checking in on YouTube. Excuse me. And we also have Kilo Echo Zero Zulu Mike Quebec is another YouTube check-in. We don't have a name or a location, but thanks for checking in. Glad to have you along.
Welcome.
Are there any comments in the YouTube chat that
not a whole lot? Not a whole lot. We talked about the couple with the maps and logging on to Ham Prep and looking at their course. So it's been very quiet tonight.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take another break for any additional RF check-ins. And, of course, YouTube check-ins, we'll do our best to keep up with those as well. And for those of you on YouTube, if you have any comments related to tonight's net, go ahead and throw them up there. And, Tony, I'll try to get them brought to the air so that we can discuss your concerns as well. Net Control standing by for any additional check-ins. Oh, before we do that, let's do this. We've got the Kilo Mike 4 Golf Alpha is the club call, and I am KN4 HYN.
Well,
my name is Justin.
We went a little long on that, didn't we?
We might have.
N4 TVZ. My name is Tony.
KR4 HBU Rogers.
All right. Let's go ahead and break for any additional check-ins. Net Control standing by.
KQ4 MJL with a comment when you get a chance.
All right, no additional comments. I'm sorry, no additional check-ins, but we did hear a request for a comment from Bobby. So, Bobby, go ahead with your comment.
KQ4 MJL. Yeah, more of a question than a comment. On that emergency comms thing, 101 thing that you guys are trying to get people involved in, definitely sign me up for that if you need people to go on a list for that. I'd be interested in that. I just wanted to throw that in. KQ4 MJL.
We'll definitely keep that in mind. I don't imagine you want to be a part of the amateur extra study group. I mean, he took his general twice.
I'd say he's got his
reason
general?
He couldn't take his extra twice, right?
Or does he have his extra?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a double general extra.
Double general extra.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we'll look at that.
High
I don't know if
regards.
that's something I'm gonna lead up. The extra course is something I definitely want to do. A lot of ham clubs will do the ham cram, where you can take a weekend and you can go and study and then test for within one weekend.
Right.
Your technician license. I want to focus more on the extra in the general. Those ham cram classes are out there, and we may have someone within the group that'll do some study groups for technician.
Right.
But what I'm looking at is basically a 6-week program. You spend basically 2 hours a week in a class talking about the material. And then at the end of that 6 weeks, we'll do 5 weeks of material, 1 week of review, and then test. And so that's what we're looking for. And I'm hoping to be able to do the test right there in the same room as we have the class
Nice.
at the end of the last test,
Well, everything's fresh.
study day.
Maybe put up a Facebook page or a chat and see who's interested in doing that.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but it's coming and it's building,
Look for
and I
it.
think it'll be here soon. If you are ready to test, I would recommend you go ahead and find a location and
Right.
test. There's going to be a free test coming up in Noonan.
No free
on-
salad, but a free test.
A free test. I believe that's March 9. That was in our announcements. But be on the lookout for that. I think when we get closer to that, we'll have some Facebook posts related to that testing. That test will be for all levels, so you can upgrade or you can become a tech there in Noonan, and that will be free. So, and there are lots of test locations throughout the region. Some charge as much as $15, but none of them charge any more than that. So that I'm aware of. I don't think
so.
I don't think you can. I think
No.
it's allowed. So 15 is the most you should pay. But once we get our testing stuff up and running, it'll be free to test. So be on the lookout for that. Well, I think that's going to do it for us then.
Oh, we have a script, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So this is the part where I say this concludes
Right.
the biweekly NGARA regional net.
And I would have to have it pulled up so I get
The next part is in green, and it says, and next week on the North Georgia GMRS Network, we will talk about No Net. Rogers and Tony are going to host a, is it going to be a round table, oval, triangular,
triangle, square
table?
rag chew, something. It will be a short, probably brief net. Just get on there and talk about whatever you've done this week, maybe.
Yeah, so that's going to be on GMRS, right?
On GMRS.
Okay, let's break. You want to take the next section?
No, because I still haven't. Oh, there we go. Finally found it. Where are we at?
The yellow part.
Yellow. We would like to thank you all for allowing us to serve as your net control this evening. Be sure to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. That helps. And remember to comment in the chat. Shows interaction with the channel and goes a long way toward helping our channel grow.
Well, good night, everyone. This is KR4 HBU. This is Rogers.
And this is N4TVZ, Tony.
And KN4HYN. My name is Justin.
And we are North Georgia Amateur Radio Association.
And we are clear. Good night, everyone.
Good night.